Hello, my name is Rachel, and this is me trying one more time to record a quick video of me just sharing some recent updates to my yarn acquisitions, as well as the works I have currently in projects and some projects I'm hoping to do. I am horrible at editing, so I'm not going to even bother trying to use the first video I recorded. I'm just going to go right into this one. So, I am a knitter, I'm a crocheter, and I am absolutely in love with my current projects that I'm doing right now. I just put some warm cashmere, which is a lotion I got from Suella's Yarn. It has mahogany, shea, and cedar. And when I first started using this, I didn't like the scent. It was too much for me. I don't ever really saw fragrance, but it has definitely grown on me. So my hands are nice and moisturized, and so I am ready to dive into today's video. So in terms of current works in progress, I am still working on my tessellated vest. This is a project that is near and dear to my heart. I spent so much time, as I'm sure many people who have been working on this project or have finished this project did, spend many hours trying to decide what would be my colorway. And then after finally picking a colorway, I have fallen deep in love with this. I initially purchased this pattern as the sweater because my goal was to make the sweater, but at the time of purchase, I had way too many whips on my needles and hooks, and I just could not manage the time that was needed in order to do a sweater. So I decided just to stick to the vest, and I'm glad I am because I'm loving the vest, and I think I've already purchased 2 button-down shirts that I can't wait to wear over it. That's really going to accentuate the blue and the gold and the colorway of the brush alpaca. So let me tell you a little bit about the yarn I'm using. For the blue, I'm using Moondrake's yarn. It was a recommended yarn for the pattern in itself. And this was the first time I did a tubular, I know it's a little hard to see. I did a tubular cast on, y'all. So I don't know how well that's coming up to the camera, but I'm telling you, this was a first try for me. It took a couple of YouTube tutorials that finally helped me understand how to do it and how to maneuver my hands. But once I figured it out, I was able to do my thing. And so I'm glad I did the tubular cast on. This has a significant amount of stitches that you have to cast on. So it's one of those that you need total concentration. No one can be calling your name. You need to make sure that you have a good 45 minutes to an hour where you can successfully cast on. In addition to other things I wanted to share about the pattern, I am using the Spin Cycle yarn, and the one that I selected was Ghost Ranch. And Ghost Ranch is what I'm currently using, and I have Coast Call as my second yarn because I love the blends for both of the colorways. They're pretty similar. For the one that I currently have, as you can see, there's gold and green and yellow. And so I'm just loving the way it's fading in color. And I'm using La Benet's silk mohair. Silk mohair. No, actually it isn't silk mohair. I'm lying. Let me actually look at the tag and speak properly. And so I'm using La Benet's baby suri, which is 74% baby suri and 26 mulberry silk, and the colorway that I'm using is called Driftwood Giraffe. And I initially purchased this yarn for another project, one of which I can't even remember the name of, but I decided not to do that clearly, and I'm currently using one skein, and I actually have plenty of yarn. So the way that I purchased my yarn, I thought I purchased enough for the sweater quantity, and now I know I do not have enough yarn for the sweater. So I'm glad I also own the vest pattern, because otherwise I wouldn't have enough to do the entire project. So nevertheless, I'm doing the vest. It's coming along. I did not plan to wear this at Rhinebeck. I just really liked the pattern, and I thought it was a great Rhinebeck item, and I figure I can always wear it next year because I am definitely going back to Rhinebeck. I absolutely had one of a second best moment in my fiber life of going there. So that's a part of my fiber life journey. So this is my current whip. And with this one, because I am making very slow progress with it, I am set a new goal for myself that every day I'm going to do at least 3 rows of it. I've already missed 2 or 3, and so I have some catching up to do today. So I'm planning on working on this this evening. My other project that I'm currently working on is the Lamea wrap. I mentioned this before. I'm doing this for my sister-in-law. She picked out this yarn and I thought this would be a great Christmas present for her. And with this yarn, it's a beautiful fade. So this one is the DK and this is the hand dyed DK. And both of them are obviously hand dyed, but this is 100% superwash, and where this is just merino wool. And it's coming along really well. I'm a little slower at Tunisian crochet than I am in regular crochet, but I love the design of the Lamea wrap. And when I saw the yarn, that pattern was the first one that came to mind. I'm like, I have to do that, because the way I envision it is that the middle is the beautiful colorway and on the outside is the purple. Right now, though, I'm having some second thoughts. A part of me wishes that I did the, because with the Lamaya wrap, which is a free pattern, you can purchase it ad-free, but it's also available on TLY Crafts, her blog, for free. But a part of me wished that I did the honeycomb stitch in this colorway and did the simple stitch in the purple. But I didn't end up doing that. And if I really truly want to circle the purple around the colorway, I would have to do this long edge. So I'm thinking about it. I only have a little bit of yarn left with the colorway. Oops, dropped it on the ground. Let me see if I can get it. Try one more time. I only have a little bit left, and so my goal is to do up until this particular color. So when I get here, I don't know if you can see that. When I get there, I'm going to stop increasing and start preparing for the honeycomb. Or maybe I'll just keep increasing and then do the honeycomb, because the pattern is very versatile and it definitely gives you that option. I'm just feeling a little pattern fatigue from this one, and so which is one of the reasons why I just want to be done with it. So we'll see about that one. So that's my second work in progress. And my third work in progress is my champagne cardigan. About once a week, I will spend hours working on it. And I'm glad, because I have made significant progress in the body, as you can see. And so that was my stitch marker from the last, I only was able to do 2 hours. Yeah, about an hour and a half, 2 hours on Thursday when I came home from work. And so that's as far as I got. But Tuesday I worked on this and I got some progress done. So I really am enjoying this pattern. And I don't know why I didn't try it earlier, because right now it's working out really well. So as soon as I finish the body, I'll do the sleeves, and then I'll do the pick up the stitches for the collar. I am a little nervous about the collar because I have picked up stitches in the past for collars and found that I've didn't pick up the right amount, or there was just always some little hiccup. So it is an interesting way of how she suggests for the pickup of the stitches. So I'm going to give it a try, and hopefully it will work out. And if it doesn't, I can always reach out to some other knitters that I know who have done that pattern, who can give me some tips for it. So that's my third work in progress. And the final work in progress that I accidentally cast on, as we were driving, I went to New York this weekend for work. I had a off-campus meeting that I'm doing for my consultancy job that I have on the side. So anyway, we were driving to New York. And as I mentioned before, my sister-in-law bought a bulk of yarn to make a sweater. And so she wanted the sweater, the Weekender Light. And I had initially cast it on, as I shared in previous. Here's the folly from the first cast on, and I just didn't like it. I can go on. I just didn't like it. The fabric was too thin. It just didn't give me good vibrations for it. And so I just decided to scrap this project. I haven't frauded. I decided to keep it together. Why, I don't know. I sincerely don't have a true explanation for it, but it is still on the original needles. But one thing I have noticed, that since I have stopped using these needles, I'm enjoying the yarn a lot more. So I don't know why the yarn is not compatible with these, because I have definitely knitted quite a few garments with that, with the cabans. I don't know how to pronounce that. I should. and actually someone explained to me how to do it. I'm horrible at pronunciation things, but that's another story for another day. But anywho, I am currently working on the Weekender Light. She had picked out a backup pattern, the scope, and I did a swatch for it, got gauge, and I liked the second colorway that she did, but I thought it was still too matchy. Although you can see, I don't know how well the camera is picking this up, although you can see the difference between the two yarns, I still didn't get inspiration from it. And then, I kid you not, as I was driving, before we were leaving to drive to New York, I was waiting on my spouse to finish getting ready, and I started watching a podcast, and I don't think it was Andrea Mari's, I forgot which one, but I was watching a podcast and they were talking about the Weekender Light, and I was like, oh, if that's what your experience was like, that's good to know, because I thought it was just me. And so I'm feeling, I felt motivated, so I decided just to cast it on. And so I did. I went ahead and cast on the Weekender Light, and it is coming out really well. I'm currently working on the um, bottom back hem, and then I'm going to switch over to the front hem and then continue on with the pattern in itself, because once I have the hem done, because this is a bottom up sweater, and I feel like once I have the hem done, it's smooth sailing from there. It's a really it's an intuitive pattern. It's definitely beginner friendly, and I can see why so many knitters have made this particular pattern, whether in worsted or lightweight, because again, once you get through the agony of doing ribbing for 2.5 inches or 3 or whatever your preference is, you are making 2 of those hems, you join it together, and bam, you are knitting up your garment and whatnot. And I just need to get over the fact that you have to do the hem, and that's okay. So what I decided to do with the hem, because I didn't like the fabric it initially made, I'm using a smaller needle. Whether it's on purpose or not, I don't know, but I think it's on purpose. I'm using a 2.5 millimeter, and the pattern, and this is on the pattern description, so I'm not giving anything away, but the pattern calls for 2.75. So my thought is to do the recommended length for the back hem in the 2.5, and then do maybe 1 or 2 rows using the 2.75, and then do the pattern recommendation for just make a gradual increase, is the long way of saying this. My goal is to do a gradual increase to the pattern description size, so then that way it will be some waist shaping, thinking about the figure of my sister-in-law. So I think I'm going to go in that particular direction, so that way it will make up for the tightness of this. And I'm also hoping that when I do blocking, that it will also open up as well, because a part of me is like, oh no, should I have gone up a size, or is this going to make it like too fitted? So I am a little nervous about that as well, but I think it will be okay. I think I'm okay with doing the ribbing at a 2.5 and then switching to what am I going to switch to? I'm going to switch to bigger needles to finish off the ribbing, and then to transition into the sweater in itself. And I think it will be okay. I just really did not like the fabric. And I know if I'm going to use smaller needles, I should cast on more. But I ended up casting on for the size that she needs for her bust. And with this pattern, it has 10 inches. No, it doesn't have 10 inches. It has 10 centimeters of positive ease, I think. And I might be rough on that. I think it might be more than the 10 centimeters, to be honest with you. But I think there's enough positive ease where she can still have a really nice drapey fabric, while at the same time enjoying this pattern as well. So I don't know, fingers crossed. This is my second time, and if this turns into an epic fail, I'm giving up on this particular pattern. I hope you don't hear my family in the background. If you do, sorry. I've asked for just a few minutes to myself in my yarn room, and naturally that's when everyone needs me or wants to be loud in other spaces that's close to mine. But anywho, this is my 4th whip, and I'm not going to cast on anything else. My hope is that this will be my last gift knitting for a while. I need a little break from doing gift knits and gift projects for others. I haven't really done much for myself, and I would like to do a little bit more projects for myself. And speaking of which, I did do one project for myself. Let's see if I can find it. Oh yes, here it is. So I always have a small project with me whenever I go to work or to really long meetings, because it keeps me engaged in a meeting. And I recently decided to do the copycat hat again. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and depending on the weight of yarn, so you can do worsted weight, you can do, and they have a DK weight one. And for this one, I did a worsted weight. So you may recall that this is the yarn I was influenced by after scrolling through the Instagrams, and I came across this polka dot yarn, and I absolutely love it. Let me get a little closer. It is very soft. It fits well. I need to block it in order to help it get its shape, but some of it will be blocked and some of it will not be blocked. I don't know, but I do like it. It came out really well. I really am enjoying the pattern in itself. Hopefully I can make another one, because I have quite a bit of yarn left, so I'm thinking like maybe I can do half and half, but we'll see, because I could potentially do the rib in one color and do the body in this, or alternate colors with it. I don't know. I'm going to play around with it, or I might just save the yarn for something else. I do have the fingering weight yarn as well from that particular pattern. Let me just show that. So this is a yarn. Here's a better view of the tag. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully that came through. So that's the yarn in the stuff. So the one I just showed you is the fingering weight, and the one in my hand is worsted weight. So I'm gonna put that away. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but now I have another hat to wear for the winter. I just need to block it. I probably won't block it. I know I should, but it probably will not get blocked. So that's my only finished object for this week. Hopefully I will have at least one more finished object. My hope is that by the end of the week I can finish the Lamea wrap, and that I will have made significant progress on both my champagne cardigan and my vest, but that only happens if I stay focused. I will need to cast on another small, easy, mindless knit for work, but I'm looking around the room and I'm like, I'm not too sure what that will be. I want to do a hat. We'll see. We'll see. While I was in New York, in between the meeting and heading home, I decided to stop at Brooklyn General. This is my first time going to Brooklyn General. Do I have anything here? I think I do. Or am I lying? I'm lying. I don't have, this is my first time coming to their store, and I wanted to see, as I've heard about it and I know other podcasters who have gone there, so I was like, let me check it out. And it was definitely worth it. It's such a quaint and fibery store. Like, you just get this vibe that the owners love fiber and that everyone is welcome. It's small and quaint, but so warm. It was a really positive experience. I'm so glad. They had some local yarn there that was produced by a local farmer in New York. The name of the farmer I don't know, but they had wool that was there. So this is natural wool. Let me get there. And I purchased the it's between DK and fingering. I should say sport. So yeah, it's more of a sport weight. Some parts of it is a little bit more fingering, where other parts are a little DK. But I fell in love with the color. The color is gorgeous, and I haven't decided if I want to make a pair of socks with this or if I want to make a hat. It's soft enough where I can make a hat, but I feel it's durable enough where I can make a pair of socks as well. So that's the first acquisition. The second acquisition, I saw the spin cycle yarn. I walked by it 3 times and it just kept saying, come to me. So here we go. And it's beautiful. This colorway, this is actually their worsted weight. This is called Rustic Rainbow. It's 100% American wool superwash. And in this particular skein, I have how much yardage? 150 yards. It was literally right there in the front. So it's a good quantity. I can definitely make a hat with it or use it for something else. I have no idea, but I just love the colorway and I had to get it. So it will it's going to be something. I just don't know what, but it's definitely going to be something. I really, really like it. And I wanted to make sure that I was buying yarn that I didn't have access to. So the reason why I selected the spin cycle, because every skein of yarn that you get is going to be different, and that's one of the things that attracts me to spin cycle. That is no one skein is the same as the other, even though they have the same name. So that's actually pretty cool to me. It makes it feel more unique and more me. And I love unique things. I also like to, whenever I buy yarn when I'm out of town, if I'm not buying it from my local yarn store or from Michael's or Joann's, I try to purchase yarn that I typically don't have access to. So, for example, I have access to Sanders Garn. I have access to Hedgehog Fibers and what's another one? There's just some of the really big brands like Hudson, like, oh, this is Brooklyn Tweed, even Brooklyn Tweed. So there's about 3 local yarn stores that I use that have all those items. The the yarn that I don't seem to have access to, that when I've gone, is the Madeline Tosh. I've seen their fingering weight, but I haven't seen DK weight. So this was my first time seeing this particular. So this is their Farm Twist and DK yarn. And the colorway I have is Antler. And when I saw that, I immediately thought Christmas hat. When I saw this skein of yarn, I thought Christmas. And I wanted to do, what I'm hoping to do is to do a DK hat with a nice brim, and to have either stripes or little hearts of red yarn. And I've never done that before, so I'm gonna play around with it. The second yarn I purchased, and again, technically I can get access to this yarn. This is, yeah, I'm not gonna even just, can you see it? I hope you can see it. And yes, I should be able to pronounce it, but this La Petite lamb's wool, it's about 270 yards, which is 248 meters. And with this particular colorway, it's called medium red. And this just screams to me Christmas. We are a family that celebrates this. And I just know that it may not be it's a possibility. I could find it in another store, but I'm like, it's there. So these two are going to be paired together. At first I saw this, I was like, oh, this would be a great Sophie scarf, because it's also in my queue as well. But then I was like, I want to make a hat. I want to make myself a nice hat with nice white hat with red speckles through it. So hopefully, I hope this to be my new work cast on. So I'm going to be working on this fairly soon. So these are my 4 acquisitions I got from Brooklyn General. So I'm really glad I went. And I also bought this little tote while I was there too. So got a little something for myself. And the great thing is I didn't go over budget. This is my last holiday yarn purchase for myself, again, unless I need it to finish out a project. So I guess this is a good transition to talk more about my acquisitions. So in addition to getting the yarn from Brooklyn General, I also ordered this Moondrake sock set, and I'm going to bring this closer. So this is called their Galaxy, which is a speckled stardust. I have, in this darker color, I have 410 yards of yarn, and it's 80% superfine merino, and it's about 15% of Neptune. No, it's not nylon. Okay, it's 15% of something, and then 5% of Selena yarn. And in the mini, it's 80% superwash merino and 20% Mylan. And with the mini, I have 20 grams. And so I'm actually thinking of doing the tessellated socks with this. And so I had initially had planned to cast that on for Thanksgiving as per the suggestion, but life happened, and so I wasn't able to do that. So I think I'm going to use this yarn for my tessellated socks. And I definitely think I'm going to use this yarn. This is their Hot Pink Fua Fua. This is the Moondrake's Hot Pink Fua Fua, which is about 315 yards of yarn. It's 70% brushed cashmere and 30% of superwash merino. And I already have 2 skeins of Fua Fua. And to be honest with you, I wanted one more skein of it. But these are both called Hot Pink. But look, I don't know if you can tell. This one is it's more purpley than this one. And again, I know it's not coming off on the camera or whatnot, and I know it's a different color lot, but believe it or not, both are called Hot Pink, and but this one's definitely more purple. So this is a word of advice. If you are knowing that you are, how can I say this? If you know that you need a certain quantity of yarn, you should always buy a little bit more, because I have just enough to make the illuminate with this particular yarn, but I was hoping that this colorway would match, but it really is more purple than it is pink. And I don't know if this is because this has been sitting out longer and maybe the sun has hit it and that's the reason why, but it is not coming out the way it should. So nevertheless, I think I'm going to use this as my contrasting color for the mosaic color for these three. So that will be my colorway. And this might be too much pink, so I may not use this particular skein. I have so many skeins in my collection. Just looking over now, I see 3 that could definitely work. So I think this is going to be my tessellated socks. That's what I had in mind when I purchased it. I thought it would be perfect for it because it's unique. And it's a colorway that I can see myself wearing both at home and away. I actually spent this whole weekend in my knitted socks, and now I'm afraid I may have left them at the hotel, which I hope I didn't. I'm going to take my time and go through all my stuff. But yeah, that's all of my recent acquisitions. What came in the mail is my Celestial box. And this advent is unique. I think the packaging looks very sophisticated on the outside, but it feels a little cheap on the inside because it doesn't have, given the price, this was probably the most expensive advent I've seen. And I don't know, I haven't been as impressed with it. And I've seen other podcasters open up their advents, and I'm like, I really wish I had one with theirs. I was just expecting a little bit more, and it just hasn't been living quite up to my expectations. But I do love the packaging, and I actually got a chance to use the box to ship the Great Love. I finally finished that particular cardigan, and I'm hopeful that I can insert a picture of it, or if you like, you can check it out on my Ravelry page, and soon I will be uploading pictures of it to my Instagram, because my hope is to do a little reel of my entire experience with Great Love. But anywho, with this particular advent, it's just, I don't know, maybe because I was expecting it to be more holiday theme. Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, it just has, it's not giving me that same like happiness. And I guess I was expecting it to be more yarny, but that's because I should have read the descriptions of it a little bit more. So I have, it came with, let me be more specific, it came with 3 of these. So in the mail, you got this huge box, and 3 of these cases were inside of it. And I've already gone through the first case, because the first day I was like, all right, the first day I got a skein of yarn, which has disappeared. I have no idea where it went. Maybe it's down here. Yes. So day 1, it's way past day 1, so I already know others. Day 1, this is the first skein of yarn that came, and this is their Swanky sock, which has 400 yards. And yeah, I'm gonna put the name of the yarn right there so you can see that. I love the yarn. The yarn's beautiful, it's gorgeous. But this is the first skein of yarn. And what kind of like threw me off with this particular advent was that the colorways weren't attached to the yarn, and I got to the 3rd box when I realized there were cards inside, because the cards were not, they just were falling into this little pocket of the box that the advent materials in. So it just, the packaging just got a little fumbled. And so what I'm doing now is taking my Bell stitch markers, sticking it through the cards and attaching it that way. But I feel like $275, you could have done that. I'm just saying. And I bought it on sale, I think. I don't know, but $275 for Advent. This is my first year buying one, so if this is standard, then I'll shut up and make it work. But it just seemed to be like a really extravagant gift for myself, and it came later than what I anticipated as well. It was supposed to come, from my understanding, it was supposed to come the first week of November. It didn't come till after Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna make it work, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm actually gonna open up my little boxes. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, in case someone has not opened up days 2 through 10. But if you are interested, I will definitely be sharing out the whole entire box at the conclusion of this parlay in my podcast for the New Year's. So just to wrap up, or to recap, I'm going to continue to work on my current whips. My hope is to make significant progress on my sister-in-law's, the hem on my sister-in-law's item. And I think for now, that's going to be my work project because the hems take forever and it's going to take a long time for his to grow. So I think, and it's mindless. So instead of casting on like a new hat or a new pair of socks, that's what I'm going to do. And my hope, if I can consistently work on it at work as well as, because I have like a 20-minute lunch. And so that's what I mean by working on it during work, excuse me. But I'm hoping that working on it in between my free time, that I can make enough progress on it where I can hopefully give it to her for Christmas, fingers crossed. So I'm going to log off and get to knitting and crocheting, and wish you a wonderful week ahead and enjoy yourself. I hope that you are enjoying all the yarn goodies and that the loved ones in your family or home are giving you the space to enjoy all the yarn goodies. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next episode. Bye.